Okay, a little change of pace. We're going to do some endgame studies, or combinations anyway. They're not always necessarily endgames. Excuse me. First one's Chigorin and Noskoborovsky. This was done in Russia in 1903. And Chigorin is in the white. And the one thing I do like about some of these studies is they're very clever in how they calculate and their piece coordination and that kind of thing. And this is no exception to that. If I were to say that the game would be over in essentially 3 moves or 2.5 moves by white, how would you think to do that? I mean, first off, you think, okay, look, there's a queen, it's being protected, go ahead and go there. Well, there's a rook there, we'll take that. And if it's not protected by the bishop, because the king will just take the bishop. So there's nothing there. So what can the first thing you want to do is probably take that rook off that back line. So that's what he does. Pins both the king and the queen, a willing sacrifice, takes it with the rook. Comes up. Now what do you think black's going to do? It's going to bring it up, of course. Can't do anything. Now, what do you do now? You bring the queen out. Why not? Now why is that? Well, now why does this work? Because the king is directly checking. You have to take the queen, in which case this would be the rook in this case. No big deal, right? Well, how about that one? Nothing can get it, protected by the bishop. That's mate. See what I'm saying? Pretty clever, isn't it? Let's try another one. That's the result. Let's take a look. This is from Alkin and Freeman in 1924 in the U.S. And as you can see, you're going to see checking the king, knowing that the pawn can't get you, but the queen can. So let's see what happens here. Check, queen takes. So now what are you going to do? You take the queen, you just done an exchange, because you take with the pawn. You can't take with the queen up there. There is the rook as it's suggesting. If you take the rook, what are you going to do then? The king's going to take it. So what if you were to move that queen in front of it? There's nothing to prevent that, is it? You go around the backside. So let's see what happens. This is exactly what happens. King takes, queen goes up. See what I'm saying? Pretty clever, isn't it? Let's go back and see how that evolved. Move, knowing the queen's got to take it. Take, take, take. Pretty nifty. Nothing to prevent that. Just went around the backside. Let's try another one. Here's another one with Alekin and Ben Mandano. I don't know how, I guess that's how we pronounce Mandano. Mandano or something like that. It's in the Netherlands, 1933. And that's close to the result there. So, no fair, no peeking. Let's look at knight. Let's do it back again. What are we doing there? Knight's up. Let's prevent the queen. I mean, you look here. Look at this. You have 2 rooks coming across the file. What can you do? You have to prevent this. The king's exit here. But, and I mean, this would make sense for the most part, except you have 2 pieces that can get them. So, what are they going to do? Take, of course. Now you've just prevented the king's exit by putting the pawn there. You have no choice but to take with the queen. There's no choice. There's no choice. So that's what happens. Now what are you going to do? You got to put the queen in a position so they can't exit. This happens to also be a check. Now look what happens. Check. King can't go here because the rooks are. You have 2 rooks there. She can't take the rook. Got another one to take her. There's no protection on this side. That's a check. What can you do? You have no choice. Move the rook in the way. Now what are you going to do? Yep. You've eliminated the exit down here. But when you have a rook up here, remember, they're all diagonal. You've just wasted, for the king, its most viable exit. And that's a mate. Not bad. Another one. And let's try to prevent that. Okay. Another one from Alken against UV, and I can never remember how that guy's name is pronounced. This is also in the Netherlands. This is 1935. And you kind of already saw the results, but let's go back and see what happens. Check. It's got to take. Takes with the queen. Okay. Looks like he's going to go after that rook. Check. Can't do anything about it. King's got to get out of the way. Queen. Check. Now what can you do? You got to put that. You have to either put the knight in the way or the queen in the way. Puts the knight in the way. What's to prevent? Oh, by the pawn. Yep, mate. That's pretty quick. So let's see what we can do here. So we saw what just happened. It's going up for the check. Bishop's going to take. Oh, so obviously that was the intent. Take the bishop out of the way so you can bring the queen up. Okay, that's good. Rook's going to go. You can probably bring the queen across. Oh, okay. Check. Remove the pawn. King has to take. Well, didn't necessarily have to. Could have moved over to h8, but he takes. Okay, yep. Queen's protected by the bishop. That's a check. And there's only one place the king can go is there, and then that would be mate right there. Interesting. Pretty good. I like that. So this is what I like about these. Yeah, let's see if we can do that. This is what I like about these endgame studies, because they're really quick. You can sort of get a little bit of tactics in play and see what's going on. So yeah, you saw what happens there. The rook wants to get rid of the bishop, which means there's going to be an attack up there on the king's side, and it's going to be right along where the bishop's going to be. So he takes the bishop out, sacrificing the rook. Queen's going to come down, so you just got her out of the way too. Take that, put it in check. King's got to move. Now, you still have protection of this rook, so you can't just bring the queen right up here. You have your double bishops, your bishop pairs, they say, and that's excellent. Check. You've removed the pawn protection, but there's no protection for the bishop, so the king is going to come out and take it. What are you going to do now? Yep. Queen takes. That's a check. King can go here, or king can go there. This is suggesting going here. And interesting. So he went check. And so what's he going to do? So he quit at this point. But let's figure out what would have happened, because that was not mate. Yeah, there's only one of two places to go. If you went here, yeah, new variation. That's right. That would go here. He'd go. Oh, that would be a check. That'll be mate right there. So he couldn't have done that. So he had no choice. So let's go here. So the king went there. Oh yeah. See, the queen can't go there because of that. So what would we be doing? Yes, check. You have no choice. That'll be mate right there, because he can't go there because of the bishop. Yeah, so that's a little more complex. Interesting. So, as you saw, pinning both, which means either the knight or the queen's got to take it. And you only want to sacrifice that if it's a reason you don't want the queen where it was. And it's only moved down one slot. So what was the rationale behind moving the queen there? Takes. Well, the king can take. He doesn't. No, he doesn't take. Oh, because of this, because of the bishop right here, ready, protected, ready to then check. Of course, there's the there. I'm not certain why I decided to move there. Okay, check. I'm not certain, but he moved there. Okay, Nothing to... Queen takes queen. Okay. Yeah. And rook takes. Check. That's a mate. Well, it is mate. Yes, that's pretty good. I like that. Wow. See, this is... Let's go back. So, the rook's under attack. It could have gone up. Could have gone all the way up there and taken that one to protect the rook. But the point was to get the queen out of the way. Is this necessary? I'm uncertain. She sacrifices the bishop just to get the queen out of the way. Okay. Takes the bishop. Okay, what would happen if he didn't do that? Why didn't he just take the rook? Yeah, it's no variation, that's fine. Because it can't go here, because the knight will come down. Oh, not knight, I'm sorry, the rook will come down. Interesting. Okay. Just check. Oh yeah, you can't do that. Doesn't want that, because look at this. That's no good. Doesn't matter what he did, that would be a losing position for black. So that's why he didn't do that. Okay, so what happens? So if he takes, so does that to get the queen out of the way. Okay. Okay, what's wrong with the queen there? What's because of what's happening there? Takes. If he takes, he's gonna do that to get the queen. Okay, so that's why he doesn't take. So that's why he moves there. Okay, I can deal with that. Now bishop takes, which is back where we were, ready to get the queen. Now the queen does take. Okay, because it could have happened the other way, but now the queen does take. So now why does the rook get taken? Because the point is, okay, he goes there, there, there. Okay, this is what I don't understand. Instead of all that, why didn't he just go like that? That wouldn't have been the same thing? Why didn't he need to bring his rook up here for that? Yeah, because, yeah, sure, the queen can bear down on here, but that doesn't matter, it's too late. This isn't check. He can take. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Because he can take. That's exactly what it is. So, he moves that. Oops. Where did I move that to? Okay. Okay, took the queen. He moves that just so the rook is out of line with the bishop. See, that's good thinking. Good thinking. That's the only reason for that. Because now he can go down here, and there's nothing to take the bishop on the check, on the discovered check. Wow, that was pretty good. I like that. Let's do one more. Okay. So, as you saw, pinning knight and king, there's really no choice, because the bishop here is on the line. The king cannot move there. This would have been made if nothing could get it. Now you have two of them. You have a rook and a knight that can take. The knight takes. If the rook took, then, let's see, if the rook took, then the queen would be gone for black. Okay. Okay. See this jazz down here? That's what we're talking about. So if the rook took, there we go. So we don't want that. So that's why when that moved up here, black had to take. So what could have happened is, there's no choice. I mean, there's a mess down here, and black would have been in bad shape there. But there's no choice up there. He's in check. He had to move. Had to do it. So, okay. Cool, cool. Queen to g1, puts in check, but the queen can take, which she does, and then bishop takes, protected by here. This is really, isn't that interesting? You can't take this because he's protecting, which is kind of funny because you can't move him because you can't put your king in check. And there's no need to go after the queen because the king can't go here or here because of this bishop. Nothing can take the bishop. Nothing can take that bishop because of the rook. Kings and mate. That's pretty good. See, this is where I like these. We're discovering why they're doing these. So you take the... So here's another one. Let's see, what's it doing? He's taking... Yeah, black's going to win this one. Let's flip the board. Okay. So the queen's going to take the knight. Sacrificing. So why should do that? So the knight must be an important slot. So the point is, where do they want to go? This knight's probably going to go here. Let's see. Take here, so probably is not the case. Probably going here. So my guess is, without looking at it yet, that in sacrificing for the knight, you're really trying to get the queen out of position. And this only makes sense when you're pinning the king. So let's see if that's what happens. Yes, that's exactly what happens. Yep. So king moves forward to go out to threaten the knight. Okay. And rook to f2. So the rook is protected by the knight, but there's nothing to say the knight can't be taken. So if the king takes, check. And actually that's a mate. Protected by the bishop. Can't go here, can't take, can't go here, can't go there. Another clever one. This will be the last one. Okay. So putting in check, no one's gonna be taken. Okay. Queen takes, no one's gonna be taken. So that's interesting. You got rid of, let's take a look at that. Got rid of the knight, but brought the pawn out. Got rid of the queen, brought the pawn out. Bishop comes back. Check. Mate. King can't go anywhere. Can't go there. Can't go there. Can't go there. And can't go there. Why? That's pretty good. Let's take another look at that. Okay. So the effort. Boy, think of the thinking these guys had to go through. And this is in Paris in 1844. You didn't think they were good at chess? Whatever, guys. Look at this. That's pretty good. That's some very deep thinking. And granted, they didn't have the kind of time controls that we do now, but this is quite good. Wow. How do you construct a plan like that? You know what I'm saying? How do you construct a plan like that? I mean, you're sitting there at the chess table, and across from you is another guy, and I guess they visualize the way they want it to be, and they make it so. I mean, I guess his name is Kieseritzky. I'm not sure what his first name was. It starts with an L. Kieseritzky. Anyway, he's knows he's got a queen, knows he's got a knight, knows he's got a bishop pair. How does he think to get rid of the knight and the queen to use the bishop pair? Well, I mean, he sees that long diagonal that borders essentially two of the king's escape. He knows the third one's taken up with the pawn, so he knows if he's got time that the pawn is preventing him from being able to go here. His own piece is preventing him from going here. And if there's some way that he can move, he doesn't really care about this one, really. He really cares about this one. If he can move this out, then he knows that he's got two squares that this bishop is taking. So there's one for the pawn, the rook, this and this from the bishop, and this. So essentially he knows that all he really wants to do is get rid of this one. Now, he can't do it. I mean, all he really needed to do is bring his queen here, take this, would have been check. Actually, it would have been mate, but that's beside the point at this moment. Actually, no. Yes, it would have been mate. That would have been mate if he could have done that. But the important thing is, he needs to get the knight out of his way. And in so doing, he knows that he's going to move this pawn up. But he's got to find some way of moving this pawn up so that he can bring his bishop over here. So let's think about that. How is he thinking about this? So he knows that he's got this covered and this covered, and these two covered. What he wants to do is to make sure that this is covered and the king is mated. So if he wants to use the queen, he knows the knight's got to get out of the way. So what makes him think to use the bishop to put him in check and prevent this at the same time? Because that is the mate, by put him in check and mate while covering this final square that we're saying that we needed to get to cover. So how does he know to do that? So what's he thinking? He's thinking, okay, what if I open this position up? I can't do anything with the queen because this stupid thing is in the way. If I did this would move this, and he would move this here. Oh, well, this would move him here, and this could move. If he moves this here, this is a forced move. If he moves the bishop here, the knight. If he moves the knight here, that's a forced move. The king can't go there, can't go there, can't go there. So you've got to take him. So that's a forced move. So he knows that he's got to take with the pawn. Yes, I know the queen. So if he wants to, and he knows he can't just, he doesn't have the, it's not like the other bishop is behind the queen. The other bishop is on a completely different line. So if he takes this, he knows that that's put him in check, and that also is a force move for the check. So it's that. And so now he knows he has exactly what he needs. The king back here with this one, the only one uncovered for the knight. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. And I guess that's good enough for now.